All right, the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. If you remember from the beginning of the year, converse is you just switch the order. What we did before is, if you knew two sides of a triangle, you could find the third by going a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then solving it. So the converse is doing this backwards. They're going to give you all three sides, and then you're going to check to see if it's a right triangle. So what this means then is if c squared does equal a squared plus b squared, then it is a right triangle. So like this one, anyone remember, is this a right triangle? Yep, 3, 4, 5. So the way you check it is 3 squared plus 4 squared, does it equal 5 squared? That's 9, that's 16, that's 25. So it's yes. So if there's square roots in there, remember you got to take the leg squared plus the leg squared. Does it equal the hypotenuse squared? So when you square this, 8 times square root of 6 and then square it, you get 384 plus 24 squared, 576. That equals 960. So they're wondering, is that going to equal what that is? So 8 times the square root of 15 squared is 375. So does this make a right triangle? No. Because they're not equal. Now, before we go on, you're not only going to have to say whether things are right, you got to say whether they're acute or obtuse also. So I'll put those up on the board and then you can have them for the assignment.
Lily, are you okay?
So, if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, it is a right triangle. Okay? Yes?
How do when I do separately the 8 times 6 squared, 6 squared, it just does error on my calculator.
You get an error on yours?
Yeah. Doug, how am I doing?
Well, you got to put another parenthesis. The parenthesis here shows that you're done with the 6. See the square? You got to get out of that square root somehow. Go back, delete those parentheses. Can you arrow out of it? There, now the parentheses.
I'm asking
Okay, now, here we found out that when we did a squared plus b squared, we got, shh, quiet, the a squared plus b squared compared to c squared, they were not equal. The last one I did, we got 960 here, we got 375 here. If a squared plus b squared is greater than c squared, it's the opposite of what you would think. It is an acute triangle. Acute means all the angles are less than 90. So then the other one would be if a squared plus b squared is less than c squared, it's an obtuse triangle. Now in the book, if you look back at this, they have this in the book. They write it backwards, and that is kind of easier to see. If c squared is less than a squared plus b squared, it's acute. It's the same thing. See the point is on the C in both of these? It's just they put the C squared first and then the A squared. So that is maybe a little easier to remember because less than you might think of acute, less than 90. So then if C squared is greater than, it's obtuse. Whichever way you can remember best is fine. So that's what we're doing today. Is some of them they're just saying if it's a right triangle, and then the others you got to say if it's right, acute, or obtuse. So we'll just do all three of them on these. So remember to check these. Sometimes they don't give you a right triangle, they just give you 3 lengths. Okay? If they just give you the 3 lengths, you need to know which one represents the hypotenuse. Everyone know how to tell which one's the hypotenuse?
Opposite the right.
No, if you don't have a triangle.
The diagonal one, or the biggest one.
The biggest one. The biggest one has to be the hypotenuse, if it is a hypotenuse. So to check this, you'd have to go 33 squared plus 56 squared.
4225.
What is it?
4225.
Oh.
And then C, does it equal 65 squared?
Yes.
It does?
Yep.
So this is a right triangle.
Yeah.
So on this one, 10 squared plus 2 squared of 38 squared compared to 16 squared.
No.
This turns out to be 252. I know that's not.
256.
256. So it's less than. It's not right, so is it obtuse or acute? If it's less than, if a squared plus b squared is less than, it is obtuse. Okay, so those are the 2 theorems I just showed you to tell whether they're acute or obtuse. So here is where they just give you the 3 lengths. This is the longest. So 28 squared plus 40 squared is 2384. 48 squared is 2304. Make sure I got that right.
So it's,
Yep. So it's greater than, which means it's acute. So on this one, 5.7 squared plus 12.2 squared is 181.33. 13.9 squared is 193.21. That's less than, so that means this is an obtuse triangle. Okay? Now, not only do we got to check to see if they're acute, obtuse, or right, we also got to check, can they represent the sides of a triangle? We did this a while ago, if you remember. Of these, one of these cannot make a triangle of these 3 lengths up here. Anyone know which one it is? 3, 4, or 5?
4.
Why 4?
I don't know.
And remember the rule for making a triangle, the lengths of the sides?
The length has to be more than the hypotenuse.
You're kind of right. We had that problem in our
Oh, they
assignment.
have to add up to.
Yes.
If you add them up or something, then it has to be lower than.
Any 2 added got to be more. Right. These 2 only add up to 21, that's 22. So it won't make a triangle. The reason why is if I had a 22-inch board here, and then I put an 8-inch board and I should put that, 13-inch, and an 8-inch, they wouldn't reach because this is 22. These 2 together only make 21. So there's no way, if you laid them down flat, this one would come to about there and this one about there. They wouldn't touch. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yep.
So, when they ask, can they make a triangle? If it's no, you just say no. If it's yes, you gotta figure out whether it's right, acute, or obtuse.
Acute.
This one's acute. 16 squared plus 30 squared
Wait, no, never mind.
is 1156.
The same one.
Okay.
This is also 1156, so it's right. Here, 6 squared plus 9 squared is 117. Hopefully you know what 12 squared is. It's less than, so that is obtuse.